Mary Kay Cabot told us, David Njoku and the Browns were really close to that extension, and it appears they have agreed on a large contract extension, according to Ian Rappaport. 4 years, almost $57 million. You see the guaranteed number, which Mary Kay told us was what they were haggling out. You see the average is, in fact, over 14, fifth highest paid tight end. So those, again, are numbers, as this is a developing story. Ian Rappaport reporting that. Mary Kay told us they were close. It appears that they have come to an agreement with that. Let's welcome in Ashley Bastock from the Plain Dealer, as well as cleveland.com. Ashley, not a surprise, but David Njoku had tweeted, "I'm next," after Jadeveon Clowney. He was right.
He was, and like you said, this is something that I think we all knew was coming from the moment they franchise tagged him, right? Like, it's obvious that they believe in him as their number one tight end. And now I think with the numbers like you laid out in that tweet there, it's really going to be time for David Njoku to produce in a way that I think fans have been waiting for him to, and the way that the Browns have been waiting for him to. Last year he led the team in touchdowns, for example, but I think what's so interesting about him is the fact that he still is so young. He was so young when they drafted him, and when you talk about a guy who really represents, I think, what Andrew Berry goes after. He was in Cleveland, not in the same role he's in now when they drafted David Njoku. But this is part of the reason why I think he values getting these younger players so much, because there's so much room for them to grow. And David Njoku is going to benefit from that financially, that the Browns really think he can get there, especially I think playing with a new quarterback in Deshaun Watson, who historically in his career has used his tight ends pretty well.
Yeah, and he is, I keep looking at David Njoku, I'm like, if you put a safety on him, he's so much bigger and stronger. If you put a linebacker, he's going to run by him. He's a problem. And with a quarterback like Deshaun Watson, he's going to be a real problem for defenses.
And I think, too, like an area he's improved in is he's not dropping as many passes as he did earlier in his career. So that's one thing, right? But, we've joked on our staff, like, who's the Browns' second receiver going to be? It's going to be David Njoku in terms of receptions and probably yards and everything like that, when, everyone's been saying, oh, maybe they should be a little bit more aggressive in finding a true veteran number two receiver. And is Donovan Peoples-Jones going to be able to handle that? I think we have to remember that David Njoku is still there, and how he's kind of led this team in certain stats in recent years, and what that might look like with a quarterback who we've seen already has a cannon for an arm.
Yeah, and the flip side of it is he worked so hard to become a better blocker earlier in his career, and I think that also impressed Kevin Stefanski as well as Andrew Berry. He continued to work on areas to get better.
Yeah, his blocking grades on PFF, and I don't have them in front of me, but they're pretty solid, for a tight end who has been as active in the pass game as the Browns have needed him to be. And again, I think just when you consider how young he still is, like, he has a lot of room to still grow as a player, grow into himself, grow into an offensive system that, they're entering the third year with Kevin Stefanski as head coach here. So overall, I think just really exciting possibilities from him that the Browns see. And I think with the Browns too, there's a lot of stuff I think the coaches see that maybe don't show up in the stat sheet with him, and especially with his blocking, that they're really fans of.